Are you able to see stock requirement list of 2107, which is the BOM component of your header material 2094 from here itself. Like this for the all components you will be able to see over here. Okay. Now if you want to hide it, now again hide overview tree. That's what. It's basically save your time. That's all. It's basically save your time. This overview tree will be basically saving. It will save your time. From the same screen, you can navigate to the stock requirement list screens of particular BOM components of that particular product or material. That's what the use of overview tree. See, as a consultant, you should know what are all the options are available from the stock requirement list screen. This in the real time, you will be using the stock requirement list screen all the time. If you are a PP consultant, most of the time you will be using this, because every material to see the situation, you will be going to this transaction. So you should be thorough with the options of all the options and available options and available facilities or whatever which you have in the stock requirement list. You should be thorough with that. Okay. So now that is the order report, or you call it as an order tree. Okay. So this is what you will be going to the, from the same screen, you will be going to the stock requirement list screens of your assemblies, all your down level materials like assemblies, components. From the same screen you will be navigating. One after the other. Okay, so that's what you will be doing in the order report. Basically it will save your time. Okay, so the next one will be the pegged requirement. So what is this pegged requirement? Okay, so you want to know because of which requirement which receipt element got generated. That's what you want to do. You want to know. So that is done through pegged requirement. Okay, pegged requirement will tell you because of which requirement which receipt element got generated. That's what the pegged requirement. Okay, so how to see the pegged requirement? So if you go here, see, this is a planned order. Is there. I want to see why this planned order is generated, because of which requirement this planned order has got generated. This is also again very important. Okay, users will come to you and ask, sir, this planned order has come. Why this planned order has come? So you should be in a position to tell why this planned order has come. So just double click on it, on that particular MRP element. There is a button, pegged requirement, which is having arrow mark upwards. Pegged requirement. So if you click on this button, it will show because of which requirement element this planned order has got generated. Okay, so you just click on this button. See, this requirement has got generated because of the planned independent requirement of quantity 1000 on the date 29/08/2016. There is a planned independent requirement on the date 29/08/2016 for the quantity 1000. Because of that, it got generated. Okay, I'll show you the planned independent requirement. On 29/08/2016, there is a requirement for 1000. Because of this planned order has come. That's what the pegged requirement means. Okay, so you will be able to see because of which requirement elements which receipt elements got generated. That's what the use of pegged requirement. Now if you see this next planned order, if you 37839, if you click on that, if you go to pegged requirement of this is got generated because of a planned independent requirement for quantity 100 dated 05/09/2016. Okay, so you can check that planned independent requirement, this one. Because of this requirement, you got this planned order. Okay, so pegged requirement will tell you because of which requirement which receipt element got generated. That is what the pegged requirement. Okay, so now the next one is the exception messages. Okay, so what are exception messages? SAP ERP uses exception messages to identify any issues within a production plan. Okay, as a result of a planning run or simple changes to supply and demand, the planning results are monitored using exception messages. So exception messages will tell you there are some issues with the planning. Okay, so as a planners in the organizations, we'll use these exception messages to correct the MRP issues. Okay, so I'll show you simple exception messages. Now the exception message, I'll do one thing, I'll delete everything. You will get confused again. I'll delete entire planned independent requirements. Okay, and now I'll execute MRP once. Now execute MRP once, MD02. Okay, I executed MRP. Now everything will go. Okay, now what you have a stock of 500, you have a stock of 500, and you have a production sales order, you have a customer order. Now what I will do is I'll create a production order manually. You will see what exception message you will be getting. I'm creating a production order manually. Okay, so now I'm saving this production order. This production order creation we'll discuss in our next further classes, production execution. So I created a production order. Okay, now if you go to the stock requirement list screen, you are able to see that production order which I just created now. Now for this production order there is an exception message showing us 20. Why this exception message is coming? 20. If you go to the exception messages list, you go to 20. It is 20. 20. What it is showing? Cancel process. That means system is telling boss this production order is not required. This production order is not required. It is telling you this production order is not required. It is telling you to cancel this 20. Why it is not required actually? This you already have a stock of 500. You have a stock of 500 and there are no requirements at all. So why there is a need to do this production order execution? 100, it's not required. That is why system is telling you, boss, this is not required. You please cancel it. That's what the exception is. So planners in the organization, they do this exception, they check for this exception messages and accordingly they'll process the particular MRP elements. Now in this case, this is not required, so you can delete it as of now. Suppose now what I will do is I'll enter some requirement, then you will be able to see this exception message will go. Okay, so now I'll enter the requirement. 500 already stock is there, right? So I'll enter a requirement of MD61. I'll enter a requirement of, let's say I'll enter a requirement of 600. Okay, now you see what will happen when I execute MRP. Not even MRP is not required, I think. See, the moment I entered the planned independent requirement 600, the production order exception message got changed to 10. Previously it was 20, now it got changed to 10. So 10 is, it might be having some other issue, some scheduling related issue. 10. Bring process forward. It is telling you to bring the process forward. So you need to analyze these exception messages and then accordingly you have to take action. So this analyzing exception messages and how to process it, that comes with experience. You will not be able to develop those skills overnight. Those skills will come as you work along with the in your various projects. Okay, so basically what you need to understand is exception messages will give you some issues in the planning. So accordingly you need to correct that issue. That is what the exception messages. Okay, exception messages. So it will basically a alert kind of things. They will alert you to do some activity, to do some corrective activity, correction activity. Okay, so that's what the exception messages. So processing the exception messages comes with experience. Okay, so that is all about your exception messages. Now comes your display filter and selection rule. Okay, so users can filter and select which MRP elements can be viewed and used in availability quantity calculation. Okay, there are two options are there. One is display filter and one other one is the selection rules. Okay, so what is this display filter? What is this selection rule? We'll understand. Okay, so display filter is basically a filtering of the MRP elements. Okay, whereas selection rule is also kind of a filter, but their available quantity will get calculated. I'll show you what is the difference between these two. Display filter basically what you do, you just do the filter. You just do the filter. Okay, which elements you want to see? Suppose let's say I want to see only requirement elements. This is the requirement element. This is the requirement element. I want to see only those requirement elements. Accordingly, you will set the filter. Okay, here the available quantity will not show. Whereas in the selection rule, it's filter, but finally for those elements, it will show the available quantity. That is the difference between selection rule and display filter. Okay, if your MD04 screen is a very huge list, you have a lot of MRP elements. So to have the filter, to see the filter, you will use this display filter and selection rule options. Okay, so we'll see it in the system. Okay, so let's go to system. Okay, now again I will put some planned independent I'll put some planned independent requirements again. I'll delete this. Now again I'll put it in the a weekly format. I'll put it in the weekly format. Okay, just okay, now I'm saving this. Okay, I entered the planned independent requirements forecast in a weekly format, weekly buckets. Okay, so now go to the stock requirement list screen. Now you will be able to see the list. Okay, so now I'll execute MRP run once, MD02. Okay, I executed MRP run. You will be getting the planned orders now. You will be getting the planned orders. Okay, now the list is huge. Okay, now from here, just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so Qureshi, we are recording it. I'll share the recorded video, don't worry. Okay, I saw your message. I am recording this video, this session. Once after the class, I will share the entire recorded video, so you will be getting that whatever you missed in the beginning. Okay, so now here you have stock, you have requirement elements, you have receipt elements, planned order, production order, sales orders, everything you have. Now I want to see only my requirement elements. I don't want to see my receipt elements. Okay, so for that you will be using display filter option. So there is a button on top. There is a button on top showing filter on. Are you able to see? So you just click on that button. So once you click on that button, there is two buttons will be coming. Two fields will be coming. One is display filter and the other one is selection rule. So from the display filter you select, I want to see my only requirements and stocks. So if you select that option, see, now only stocks and only requirements are showing. Are you able to see here? Okay, you will be able to see only requirement elements here along with stock. Okay, that is a display filter. Now I want to see only my receipt elements. Only receipts. Okay, so then it will show your stock, and then your planned order, production order, whatever, all the receipt elements it will show. See, now it is showing stock and only the receipt elements, all production order and all the planned orders it is showing. So this is how you use the display filter option. Okay, so now if you don't want this, just make it blank. So now again everything will show. Now the selection rule, what happens is, here when you use the, let's say, receipt option, it is not showing your final total receipt quantity. It is not showing your total quantity. It is showing only the just filter. But if you go to selection rule, I'll make this filter option blank. Now if you go to selection rule, if you see SAP only receipts, Now what's happening is it is showing your entire total receipt quantity 500, and all this gets clubbed, and if you come down, if you go to the end, see your total receipt element quantity is 3100. It will show you the available quantity. That is the difference between display filter and selection rule. Your interview question. What is the difference between display filter and selection rule? So you should be in a position to explain. Display filter is a purely filtering function, whereas selection rule, it will not only filter, it will show you the final available quantity. That is the importance of display filter and selection rule. Okay, whereas display filter is used in both. You can use this in MRP list, you can use this in MRP list, and you can use this in stock requirement list also, both. But whereas selection rule can be used only in stock requirement list. That's why I have shown you in the stock requirement list. Again, your interview question: can selection rule can be executed in MRP list? No, it cannot be executed. It can be executed only in stock requirement list. Okay, so the major difference is, in the display filter you will not be able to see available quantity. Whereas in selection rule you will be able to see the available quantity according to the selection rule. That is the major difference. Okay, so basically it's a nice to have feature kind of thing, this display filter and selection rules. Okay, so now the next one will be the navigation profile. Okay, so what is this navigation profile? A navigation profile contains transaction calls for transactions that can be called directly from the stock requirement list or the MRP list. So navigation profile will give you some options to call some transactions directly from the MD04 screen, stock requirement list screen. So if you go to stock requirement list screen, now I am closing this filter off. So the moment I click on this filter off, those two will go. Okay, now navigation profile. So to go to the navigation profile, select environment, go to navigation profile, assign. You click on this button. Okay, so here you have some you will be shown with another box. So here you go to navigation profile. So you select one of the navigation profile in the system. Okay, so I'm selecting one of the navigation profile which is already there in the system. I'll show you this navigation profile in the configuration. So if I select this navigation profile, SAP PP MRP 00, MRP controller, this navigation profile I'm selecting. The moment you select and click on continue, if you observe, there are 5 buttons are coming, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the MD04 screen. Okay, so these are like favorites. So from this screen you can directly call these transactions and execute the transaction. So from the screen itself, now I want to do MRP single item. Normally if you want to do MRP, what you will do, you go to another session, you open another session. Normally what you will do in real time, if you want, now this is a material, now I want to do MRP run. So what you will do, you open another session, then you go to MD02 and then you execute MRP run. So to avoid these kind of things, what you will do is, from the same transaction, MD04 transaction, you just click on this button. It will take you to MRP transaction. If you click on this button, say you go to single item multi-level. Okay, so that is what you will be doing through navigation profile. So see, basically why the navigation profile is used. So if you are working in an industry, suppose let's say you frequently execute some transactions. Okay, so every time going to the transaction in a different session, executing the transaction is a time consuming activity. So instead of that, to save time, you will use this navigation profile. So from here itself, you will go to that particular transaction. So you will keep these transactions as favorites, which you execute frequently. Okay, so now from here itself, you can go to display planning directory. See, you can go to the transaction. Okay, so these transactions can be you can do the setting at user level. So I am a user, I can set my own transactions, and if a different user, he can set his own different transactions. So that is what you can do. Okay, so that is what the navigation profile. So the transactions are either general, which means actions at the material level, or they refer to a particular MRP element. Okay, so these favorites you can set at general level, and for each MRP element also you can set some transactions. Okay, I'll show you that in the configuration. So let's go to configuration, SPR, SAP reference IMG. So go to production, okay, go to MRP, material requirement planning, okay, go to evaluation, okay, go to define navigation profiles. If you go to this navigation profile, the one which we selected, what is the one? This one, SAP PP MRP 00, MRP controller. If you select this one, and if you go to the there is a folder on the left side, general transaction calls. See, these are the ones. Of course, what you need to understand here is how many transactions are set here? 9. Entry 1 to 9. So there are around 9 transactions. But on the display, you will be getting only first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here you can set n number of transactions. How many? The number of transactions, there is no limit, but the display will be limited to only first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only the first 5 will be shown over there. First 5 will be shown over there. That's what. Okay. The system will display. The system always displays the first 5 or first 2 transactions called that are relevant for the context. So in general, for general transactions, it will display first 5. Okay. So here 9 are there. Here 9 are there, but still system showing only first 5. MD11, MD02, MD43, MD21, MD11. This is general transaction calls. And again, okay, and for per MRP element, it will show 2 transactions. So if you go to transaction calls per MRP element, if you select order, production order, just give me 1 minute. Production order, FE. If you go to FE, if you go to production order, so for production order, FE, for production order, how many transactions are set here? 1, 2, 3. But even though 3 are set, it will show only first 2. So I'll go to the production order. Which is already there in our stock requirements. This is a production order. If you double click on it, see there are 2 transactions showing, order progress and backflash. Order progress, backflash. These are coming from here. See, order progress and backflash. Okay. The third one is not coming because per MRP element it will show only first 2 transaction calls. General it will show first 5, and per MRP element it will show first 2 transaction calls only. Okay. And this navigation profile can be assigned at user level. Each user can have his own different navigation profile. Okay, so this is the navigation. It is basically save your time. That's all. It's basically save your time. That's all. You can have your own favorites. Here you will be having your own favorites. Okay, so general transaction calls, and then per MRP element you can have some transaction calls. Okay, so this is the navigation profile. Okay, so when I remove the navigation profile, these all the buttons will go. Okay, so suppose if I go to environment again, navigation profile, assign, already it is there. So now I am deleting this. Now I am deleting this navigation profile. Okay, so now click on continue. Now see, those buttons have gone. That means I removed that navigation profile. And even if you go to production order, those will not come. Previously you are able to see order progress and backflash. Now those are not visible. Okay. Now if you again assign a navigation profile, those will be visible for you. So those are visible again. So basically it will save your time. The transactions which you use frequently, those you can add it over to as favorites in the navigation profile. That is the use of navigation profile. Okay. Now the last thing is available quantity. The last one, which is very important, is you should understand what is available quantity. This is very important from a consultant perspective. Okay, so I'll delete again everything. I don't want to confuse you. I'll delete everything. Okay, I'll execute MRP run once. All planned orders will go. Okay, so now I will enter one requirement. I will enter only one requirement. Okay, /n/md61. I will enter 1000. I will enter 1000. Okay, I'll enter 1000. So now if you go to the stock requirement list, so as a consultant you should always concentrate on final available quantity. This available quantity should be always 0 or more than 0. It should be always 0 or more than 0. This available quantity should be always 0 or more than 0. It should be more than 0. It should be more than 0. Okay, if it is less than 0, that means if it is in minus, there is an issue. Now here in this situation, you see what is the final available quantity? It is 400 minus. That means receipt requirement elements are more than the receipt elements. See here, what is our stock? 500. What is our production order? 100. And our requirement is 1000. So 1000 is our requirement. Our requirement is 1000. Whereas our receipt elements, what are our receipt elements? Our receipt elements is stock is 500 plus you have already a production order 100. Okay, that means 600. That means still there is a shortage. So this 100 minus 600 or 600 minus 1000. That way you have to take. Now it is 400 minus 400. That means there is a shortage. So receipt elements are enough receipt elements are not there to satisfy these requirements. So that means there is an issue. Either you have not executed MRP or there is some issue with MRP. So as a consultant, always you should concentrate on this. So now if I execute MRP, to make this 0, the required receipt elements will get generated. So now if I execute MRP, okay, now I executed MRP. Now if you go to MD04 screen again, see, now there is a planned order has come. Now your available quantity has become 0. So the final available quantity should be always 0 or more than 0. It can be more than 0. Suppose if I increase this planned order quantity, let's say I'll increase this to 600. I'm just manually I'm increasing. Okay, now if I increase it, your available quantity has become 200. So this should be final available quantity should be 0 or more than 0. If it is in minus means there is some issue. Either MRP is not executed at all or MRP is not executed properly. There is some issue. So then you as a consultant, you will be working on this. So when this available quantity will be 0, when both requirement elements and receipt elements are equal or receipt elements are more than the requirement elements, then only this will be 0 or more than 0. Okay, so that is what you need to concentrate, available quantity. Okay, so that is all about your MRP evaluations. So basically post MRP run, you will be using all these tools to analyze how the MRP is performing. That's what you will be doing in the real time.